All right, let's talk getting mocap data into the game from LiveLink Hub or from the Unreal Engine. Either way, it doesn't really matter. You're going to have the same kind of user interface that lets you add LiveLink sources from a selection of options and basically get that data ingested into the game. So you're just going to start here very simply, go to the Add Source button, and you'll click, and you'll see even without a bunch of different plugins established in your installation of LiveLink Hub, you already have a variety of different options at your disposal for what kinds of data we're going to support transmitting into the game. It doesn't matter which source type you have here. The way that the LiveLink Bridge plugin that I've built for this works is it's going to take it, regardless of the integration for the mocap source data, it's going to flatten it into something that the game can ingest and work with. So you have a lot of different options at your disposal for the different kinds of data that the game is allowed to take in. The ones that you're most likely to use here are the first two or the last two. The first two are sources that are related to basically capturing off of a mobile device, typically using the LiveLink Face application. The first option is a legacy option that is only available to iOS devices, and this back in the day, this was the only real-time source of data, and the MetaHuman animator data didn't exist yet, so it's lower fidelity overall, but it's also low latency, and it's cheap and easy to get, provided you actually have an iPhone. But if you don't have an iPhone, if you have an Android device, or maybe if you prefer a higher degree of fidelity, using the same application, LiveLink Face, you can send in LiveLink Face data. And this data is going to come in at super minimal latency, but at very high fidelity overall. And the reason it can do that is because it's using your mobile device that it's running on to basically process this data as a separate computer and then pass the results back into your computer here. So you don't have to, take the data source in and then in real time do all of this processing. Likewise, it also happens to be working with depth information, potentially, that can aid in its ability to come up with a stream of animation data based on the video input that it happens to have access to. So I think that LiveLink Face for a lot of people is going to be your best option, the best balance of minimal latency and high fidelity overall. But you can only do that if you happen to have a mobile setup that supports it. If you don't have a mobile setup that supports it, or if what you're trying to get into the game isn't actually like a live performance or a live capture of you, then the options at the bottom, MetaHuman Audio and MetaHuman Video, are going to be the ones that you'll be interested in. The way that they work is they're going to look for an audio or video device on your computer, and it's going to basically just pipe that data in directly and process it on your computer to turn that into mocap data. So if I was to select MetaHuman Video here, for example, I go to the video device dropdown in the configuration here, and I pick the video device that I want it to actually work with. In this case, I have virtual options, and then I have my actual webcam. So I choose my webcam, and if I hit the connect button, now my webcam is activated, it's sending in a video stream, and it's being processed into MetaHuman data here. Now this is at greater latency than the LiveLink Face option, but it's something that you can do, it's something that you have at your disposal, even if what you're working with is like a local video that you have on your computer. And I'm going to talk about how to set that up in a separate video. But it's a good general purpose option for the case where, hey, I just have audio, I just have video, and I need to process this. Or maybe you don't have a device which is capable of handling LiveLink Face in an efficient way. And this just happens to be a better option for you, So here, just demonstrating a different source here. I've got an audio source here which doesn't have any video input as the name implies, and I can just put it to an audio device. I'm going to do my microphone here, and I've configured that. You can change things about the format potentially. Once it's to your liking, you hit the connect button, and I now have two subjects which are recognized in the LiveLink Hub, and because I've built the Bridge plugin, they're also being piped directly into the game here. So if I step into the game, and I look at the subject dropdown for face cap here, I've got both my webcam and my microphone here. So if I applied it to the player character, now what you're seeing is me in real time talking, and it may have some latency to it based on how I have my OBS configured, and also just the fact that it needs to process this from the webcam directly, but it works pretty well overall. And I could also just switch that to a different subject, and suddenly it's doing the real-time audio to face with no video input whatsoever influencing the results here. So that's just the basic approach. You add sources into LiveLink Hub, and then once you've configured them and are able to connect them, they just automatically get ingested by the game. It really doesn't take much to make that happen. And you've got a bunch of options that you can configure to your liking, some state information. You can do things like turn off head rotation and things like that if you need to. This is basically your control panel for how you're ingesting your data, and then you have a control panel for how you apply it here in-game. So my hope is that this is flexible enough for everybody to have some option that works for them, basically.